The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. It's a new week. Welcome into the first full week of March and a new episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Brought to you, as always, by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. Anthony Hartwig with you, as always, as well. We got a great show for you today. Not only are we going to recap the exciting action from the weekend, but we're also going to hear a couple of interviews today. Tomorrow, we're going to have a couple of Springfield interviews. Today, we're going to have a couple of different interviews as well. Today is going to be a first softball preview of the season. We're 3 weeks away exactly from the start of softball and baseball season. I had a chance to talk to our first coach of the year, Mariah Ciccolelli of Jackson Milton. We're going to hear from her. And we also are going to put a bow on the Hoban girls basketball season with an interview with Mackenzie Edinburgh, going to be played on today's show as well. Had it slated for Friday. Friday, I got too caught up in talking about the weekend's games a little bit, so we had to push that interview to today. But we're going to play it for you here today as well. Tomorrow, like I said, plan to get John Matizzi on, and we'll also have an interview with Jamaica Brungard from Springfield as well. So tomorrow we'll talk even more about the Springfield Tigers and their run to Dayton. But perfect segue, by the way, to talk about the games that happened over the weekend. Let's go to our scores and talk about some of the teams that have made it past this round, some of the teams that unfortunately did not. We will go to Friday, and we will start with Mooney, who went up against Mineral Lake Catholic. This was a game that was close for a while, but Mineral Lake Catholic, unfortunately for Mooney, kind of flexed their muscles down the stretch. 52-38. Mooney started this game pretty much Mooney style of basketball. We saw them last year really flex their muscles with defense, hold teams down, and then score clutch points down the stretch. That was their motto last year in the tournament, and it was their motto this year up into this point. They were really playing really good defense. Unfortunately, I don't think their offense was able to take advantage of enough opportunities that their defense gave them. And eventually, you can only hold a really good offense down for so long. And 52 is actually a good number to hold a really good offense too. But unfortunately for Mooney, a lot of those points came, down the stretch where, it made it really hard for Mooney to come back from a little bit of a run down the stretch for Mineral Lake Catholic. So they're able to get the win. Mooney, a great run again. I think they're always a dangerous team in the tournament, no matter what their record is in the regular season. Of course, the regular season, probably didn't go the way they wanted it to. The record wasn't, up to Mooney standards, but I've said this before. I'll say it again. They play one of the toughest schedules in the area for boys basketball. They don't shy away from anybody, and that probably, puts a few dents in their record for sure. But just like last year when they had, a few blemishes on that record, they came back into the tournament and they made a great run. They got to regionals last year and they got to regionals 2 years ago. Unfortunately, this year they fall just short in the district championship and fall to Mineral Lake Catholic. Final score there once again, 52-38. Mooney falls. But unfortunately, that is the end of their season. We have to bid some of those athletes adieu, and some of them we'll see back into the spring sports calendar as baseball season approaches for Mooney as well. They're a great baseball team, so excited to see some of those players back in action on the baseball diamond. We'll move on to the next final score from Friday. District Championship in Warren Harding. It was South Range that went up against the 7th consecutive district champion in Lutheran East. And Lutheran East was coming off of back-to-back games where they scored 100-plus points. This time around, South Range did a really good job on defense on this, again, really great offensive team that proves they can score. But it just wasn't enough. South Range couldn't hold them down enough to win 69-45, the final score for this one. The big defensive quarter, I think, was South Range's second quarter, where they really gave Lutheran East some problems and slowed that offense down. But Lutheran East, like all really good basketball teams that have established success, obviously their offense is good, but they don't slouch on defense. They made the Raiders really struggle to score at times. But Luke Rowan, 21 points, 7 3-pointers. He's come back into his junior year next year. He'll be fun to watch the rest of his career. You can find a player profile from Luke Rowan on our website as well if you are interested to hear about that outstanding sophomore, soon to be junior, coming into the basketball program. But like I said, South Range runs into this a buzzsaw. There's no other way to put it. Lutheran East, number 1 ranked team in the state in Division 3. I think they're the number 3 ranked team in Northeast Ohio across any division. 7 consecutive district championships, 5 consecutive regional championships. This team's a juggernaut, right? And South Range, great effort to hold that team to 69 points that they scored 100 plus in the back-to-back games before, but just wasn't enough. Lutheran East, they win their 8th consecutive district championship in Warren Harding this time, and the final score once again was 69-45. South Range ends their season at 15-10, and they are NEA champions for the first time in program history. We go on to Badger, who had a tough time in Grand Valley against Cornerstone Christian, who is another, just every team, it seems like in our area, came up into a district that saw a powerhouse lined up across from them. And Cornerstone has been a staple in Division 4 for years, and they proved why. 81-54, they get the win over Badger. Braves kept it close for a little bit, but man, Cornerstone is good. They've been good. They're established. They have all the right pieces in place. They do everything the right way, and they just kind of took control of this game. They're not used to losing districts. They weren't about to lose one on Friday. So 81-54, the final score there from Grand Valley. Then we had the girls regional final on Friday in Barberton as Canfield went up against Northwest. And it was a dramatic, I told people this after, it was a dramatically different Northwest team than we saw on Tuesday in the regional semifinals against CVCA. I mean, I think they put some things together. What I never talked about, which I think probably I should have, and probably should have been talked about more when previewing this game. I think anytime you get a good team that escapes a lackluster performance and wins is always dangerous, no matter what sport you're playing, whether it be basketball, softball, baseball, football, volleyball, it doesn't matter. If you get a good team that escapes a not a great performance and escapes and gets the win, that next tournament game is very dangerous to play because they're going to be extremely focused leading up to that game on, tightening up everything and making sure that they're doing everything right heading into the next one. So this one was tough for Canfield because Northwest did not play extremely well against CVCA. They escaped with the win, 30-27. I mean, it was one of those offensive games where they weren't executing well. They were turning the ball over a lot. They shored that up. They did not turn the ball over hardly at all against Canfield. Their post bottomly number 55 was a absolute, just wrecking ball down low. Kudnick, their guard, was also deadly on the drive. Canfield wanted them to drive, right? Because you watch them on film. They don't drive a ton. They like to pass the ball into the post. That's how they get their points in the paint. Like to spread you out on the outside and get the ball as an entry pass inside. But Cudnick was up for the task, and we talked to Matt Reel after the game, and he said while we did make them drive, he said they didn't take away her right hand as much as they would have wanted to, and driving's a lot easier when you're going your dominant way. So that was one of the things that he thought was maybe a difference maker in that game, not being able to stop Cudnick from driving to her dominant side nearly enough. Canfield made one run in this game. They were down 11-1 after one quarter. They opened the second quarter with an 8-0 run. This is when you kind of felt like, okay, Canfield woke up. They're right back into this. It was 11-9. But you give Northwest all the credit in the world because they answered that run in a big stage. Anytime a team puts up a run on a big stage, you can get fluttered a little bit, but Northwest did not. They responded with a 9-0 run to end the half, and they led 20-9 after 2 quarters of play. And they kind of controlled the game from that point on. It was not Canfield's night shooting, that's for sure. And what can you do? You got there, and you play good teams every night. And if you're not at your A game, and they are, it's gonna turn ugly. And that's what happened on Friday. It takes nothing away from what Canfield did all season. They only lost one game in the regular season against that tough schedule that was still geared towards a Division I team because it was their first year in D2. That's why they were ranked the third hardest schedule across the state in Division II, and they still came out 25-1 before they lost that regional game. 25-2 is their final record. So props to Canfield for making it that far and being the first team in the program since 2013 to make it to the regionals and winning a game in Barberton, and then unfortunately for them, falling short in the final. The final score down there in Barberton on Friday was 51-29. Northwest got the win. So we move on from Friday. We go into Saturday. Saturday's finals came in, and it was first one that came in was Gilmore Academy being able to knock off Ursuline 74-68. This was coming off of an overtime win for Gilmore Academy. They won in overtime over Girard the round before in the semifinals, and then they came in, and it was a close game, neck and neck the whole way. Gilmore just made a couple more plays down the stretch. You can talk a lot about a team's ability to come off of a clutch win and just keep that clutch gene going, that clutchness, that ability to make those game-winning plays when they mattered the most. And Gilmore Academy was up for that task. They were experienced in those kind of games. They played a tough schedule. So did Ursuline. Something had to give, right? And this was a game that was so evenly matched that it turned into a toss-up, and unfortunately the toss-up did not go Ursuline's way. Coach Gunther was on with Matt Morrison on Friday. They had high hopes for this team if they made it out of districts. They knew that the district was going to be tough, whether Girard came into the championship or Gilmore Academy did. It was Gilmore Academy this time around, and Gilmore got the best of it. 74-68, the final score in that one for Gilmore Academy, moving on into the regionals. Cheney got the win. They're still alive in boys basketball. They beat Canfield 44-36. They get revenge from a earlier season loss to Canfield. Cheney is moving on with that 8-point victory in the district championship. We go into Hoban, who is still alive, with a 58-44 win in the district championship down in Twinsburg. So they are moving on to the regionals in Division I as well. Hoban and Cheney, the last boys teams remaining as we head into the regional round this week. And then we talk about this regional championship in Perry on Saturday night. It was the nightcap. Both the boys' games were in the afternoon. So it was the only show in town on the network. And Springfield, they played their brand of basketball that got them there. Very defensive game. And then their offense was able to score when they needed most. I mean, they didn't have an offensive blowout. It wasn't an offensive shining light, kind of game where you're going, man, they can score wherever they want to. But their offense, when they needed the points the most, was able to step up and get points, especially. And I will point out their third quarter, and I'm sure Coach Matizzi will when we have him on the show tomorrow, and I'm sure Noah Doty, when he was talking to Matt Morrison in Talk More before this Running Point episode, I'm sure he brought up the third quarter too. I mean, this was Northwest's run. This was when Northwest kind of woke up, turned the offense on, and tried to make a run at this game. It was by far Northwest's best offensive output in any frame of the game. They scored 12 points in this quarter, put Springfield up for the task. They scored 13. They scored right with Northwest throughout that quarter. Every time Northwest would hit a 3, it seemed like Springfield would come down and at least get a 2 to stay in front. They never trailed in that third quarter. They never trailed in that run. So Springfield up for the task. They get the win. Final score 34-28. They also make some clutch plays down the stretch to not have to sweat out in the fourth quarter. There wasn't down the stretch, 1 minute left in a 2-point game. It wasn't anything like that. They pretty much had the win secured at the free throw line down the last minute and a half of this game. So Tigers able to breathe a little bit in the fourth quarter. One of the things that the coach Matisse said after the game, they wanted to make sure that they had their fourth quarter energy from the regional semifinals in the whole game. And it really felt like that happened. I mean, watching the regional semifinal against Dalton, it felt like they kind of turned it on. And I talked about it in the fourth quarter. Okay, we got to go. We have to win. And it felt like they didn't wait to turn it on this time around. I think they knew that they couldn't afford to against Buckeye Central. Came out, they hit the first shot they took. Maddie Lesnack hit a 3 from the corner. First shot they took, first possession, boom, 3-0. That got everyone loose a little bit. I think they scored in their first 2 possessions. I think they came back and scored in a layup to make it 5-0. Then the defensive kind of rhythm that you expected out of this game kind of took over. But scoring and getting ahead early and being able to keep that lead for most of the game, I think was a big key in Springfield's game plan. Because if you fall behind early in that stage, you start to have that doubt creep into your mind. This team beat us last year. Oh, it's happening again, yada, yada. Never happened to Springfield because they got off to that quick start. I think that was really important. So Maddie Lesnack hits a 3, gets everybody kind of loosened up a little bit. And then J.C. Mullen led with 13. Jamaica Brungard had 10 for the Tigers. So good job to Springfield. They're going to Dayton. We'll have more coverage of their team as the week goes on. We're so excited that Springfield's able to take their first ever trip to Dayton as a program. And like I said, we'll have more coverage of their team as the week goes on. But first, we're going to take a break on Running Point, and then we're going to get to the interview section of the show when we come back on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
As fine as the eye can see, the finest hardwoods from the finest trees. Made for your home and within your means, Baird Brothers will help fulfill your dreams. Let life and light come shining through in quiet morns. And heavy traffic, too. Find your easy-to-afford fine hardwood floors and doors and more at BairdBrothers.com.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Welcome back to Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you as always by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. As promised, we're going to get to the interview section of the show. We're going to start with wrapping up the Hoban girls basketball season with an interview with Mackenzie Edinburgh from Hoban. So here you go with that one. Anthony Hartwig here with a Archbishop Hoban girls basketball player profile. I'm joined by Mackenzie Edinburgh. Mackenzie, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
And here this Hoban team is again at the top of the mountain. It's 4 straight district championships for this program. A whirlwind for you. You've come into this program and you've lived on fire. What's it been like to kind of be successful and to win a district championship again?
It's really exciting. It's a huge accomplishment. We were really trying to get this. This was our ultimate goal of this year. So I'm glad that we were able to accomplish it.
We've talked to your senior leaders, all 3 of them this year so far, and they all talked about how this year has been, a little bit more up and down than the years of the past, but they've been able to really gel as a team throughout, the season. From your perspective, what's it been like to see this team grow together and to mold together as the season has gone on?
It's definitely been a challenge. We did have a lot of ups and downs. We lost some big games. We won some big games. So I think it's just the matter of time. I think we really were able to come together now and play more as a team.
They also talked about when the seedings came out, there was a little bit of a chip on the shoulder because you guys had won 3 in a row. You felt like maybe you were underseeded a little bit. How much of a motivation was that going through the districts, trying to just prove to everybody that this was still Hoban and we still know how to do things down here?
It was a motivation, actually. Our coaches were trying to push us to make sure that we stayed motivated because everyone was doubting us. Nobody thought that we would make it this far. And the fact that we did is a really huge accomplishment. Kind of it's just I don't know how to explain it. It's just a really good thing that we were able to far and prove everybody wrong.
When we talked to your coach, Pamela Davis, and we asked her, what have been some of the keys to the success you guys have had this year, she points right to the seniors. How big have they been for you to pull you through the ups and downs and to really motivate you guys throughout those ups and downs in the season?
Yeah, they're great. Well, Riley, she's amazing in every aspect. She helps a lot leading scoring, especially Emma too. And KO is always willing to, get us going because she's the point guard. So I think they're all good. We love them. But they've been great seniors to it.
Next year when they have to graduate, what kind of things are you going to take away from what they've done this year to make yourself into a leader when it's asked of you?
I just think staying on task, making sure everyone else is on task because we have a really young team. So me and some of the other juniors on the team, we're just going to have to step up and make sure that we can get the younger ones going,
Like you said, you're a junior, so it'll be your turn next year. Have you started to think about, what senior year is going to bring and what the emotions of that are going to be?
I have, but not really. I've thought about it, about how I'm going to have to lead a little bit more. And I'm excited, though. I'm ready for the next season, but not just yet.
Not just yet. We still have some business to take care of. Back to regionals you go. How excited is this team? I mean, you've had a couple of practices since the win in districts. What's the feeling like in this locker room right now going back to regionals?
We're all really excited. We're staying focused in practice because we know that we have a big game coming up tomorrow. And everyone's really excited, really ready, really dialed in and focused. So,
when we've been able to watch this team, the defense that you guys play is just electric. I know you have scores. You have enough scoring to put up 70 sometimes. But how much pride does this team take in the defense that they're able to play?
We take a lot of pride in it. It's literally all our coaches preach about. Defense is what will get you into games. Defense is what wins you games. It's what our coaches preach. So if you aren't playing defense, then you might as well not even play because that's what comes first. And then scoring comes afterwards.
You needed every bit of that defense in that district championship. Green is a great team, and they tried to make a valiant comeback. What was it like in that game, trying to stay composed down the stretch and trying to make just enough defensive stops against that team that was trying to swing momentum their way?
It definitely took a lot of focus because we had a 15-point lead at one point, and then I don't know what happened. We just sort of, I guess, started slacking in a way, but we were able to focus and keep them from winning. So
Obviously, this head coach and this coaching staff, 35 years of experience on the bench is what you guys have. What's
yeah.
it like? What's it like being under Coach Davis? 600 career wins, and when she says something, you can take it to the bank. What's that like for you guys?
Yeah, it's great. I have coaches. I'm very grateful that they are coaches. They know what they're talking about, and we just have to trust and believe that they tell us. So,
you're gotten a little wiser and a little older over the years. Is there anything that you had, maybe said as a freshman that you really didn't believe or you didn't understand that now you're sitting as a junior, you're trying nodding yourself like, man, coach was right 2 years ago when she told me this or she told me that?
kind of. Well, I mean, I never really question what the coaches tell us because I know that they have the best interest in what we are doing. And I don't think I've really, said anything or felt any type of way because I didn't think that they were telling me the right thing. I know that they have my best interest. So,
what has been your biggest growth point since your freshman year, do you think?
definitely my role on the team. Freshman year, I played JV and I got no minutes on varsity. And last year, my sophomore year, the district, or no, I think it was regionals. I had to step up because it just wasn't, the girls ahead of me weren't playing as well. So I had to step up and I proved myself at that point. And then a lot of girls left, and so now I'm just one of the bigger roles this year.
That being said, you come into this year, you're going to have a bigger role. What was that like preparing for this season, knowing that it was kind of your time to shine a little bit?
It was a little bit nerve-wracking because I know that I had to perform like that every single night. But I was ready for it. I was ready for the challenge, and yeah.
How much did getting into that regional game just prepare you a little bit, make you a little bit less nervous about, can I do it?
I mean, it's just the amount of focus and how hard you work in practice, really. Just making sure that you know everything, and, that's really.
One of the things about this Hoban family and the athletics department, whether it be the girls basketball team, any sport really, you guys are really good at reaching out to the community and showing them that you're there for them. And whether it be, this year you guys made blankets for the Ronald McDonald House and other things like that. What does things like that and being able to do things like that do for you guys as a team?
It makes us closer. Not only are we helping people, but it's also team bonding. We get to have a little bit of fun making the blankets, just doing stuff for the community. We're trying to actually go to a nursing home, and we were going to make them like cards and stuff, but we were unable to do that. But yeah, we're always trying to, give love back to the communities.
What does it do for you personally to kind of see people that probably have it a little bit worse than you, and to be able to reach out a hand to them and show them that even though you got a lot going on and you're a high school student and you have a lot to focus on with your schooling and with your basketball, that it's you can take time to help them out? What's that do for you personally?
It makes me feel good inside knowing that I can help somebody at as young of an age that I am. It just makes me feel good.
That's what you're able to do for strangers. What's the nicest thing that you think a stranger's ever done for you?
Just compliments. Like, I smile a lot, and people sometimes compliment my smile and just things like that. Mostly compliments.
When you think about things that raise your confidence, obviously role models are a big part of that. Who have been some of your role models throughout your career?
Definitely my mom. she's one of the strongest people that I know. She's always motivating me no matter what. She's very strong, independent, and she's definitely my biggest role model.
Do you have any stories about your mom that like kind of show you how strong she is and how much like she's impacted you?
Um, she's just always willing to give up literally anything for me and my sibling. She's just always willing to do whatever it takes to get us where we want to be. For example, getting me to Hoban took a lot of sacrifices, and I'm very thankful for her.
What's it like because those sacrifices that you had to give up to get to Hoban? What's it like being there? What's that mean to you that you're able to be there and you're able to be on this team?
I love being at Hoban, and I love being on the girls basketball team. Everyone's so welcoming and just makes you feel good about yourself. No one's ever, mean or negative. It's just a very good community. I'm grateful that I have the basketball team and the school.
And you have a great community. Every time we show up to one of your games, it's a packed house.
Yeah.
What's it like to really feel the crowd and feel the energy that your community brings to your games?
It feels great, actually, knowing that you have a lot of supporters supporting you and your team, and it just feels really good to have everyone supporting.
One of the things that I notice is it's not just the parents and the students. I see faculty members at your games. I see coaches of other athletics departments. What's that do for you guys to know that there are people in the school system that aren't students or parents that care about your success and want to see you succeed?
Yeah, like I said, it's great, especially like when we have students there, and teachers there. It's great to see that everyone's supporting.
You guys get a great student section. What's your favorite sport to be in part of the student section for?
Football, really, because that's like the only time I'm really in the student section, because the football student section's like the best ones.
It is the best one, and you guys had a great season in football. What was that like to watch your classmates succeed at the highest level like that, make a run all the way to the last game?
It's actually exciting. I went to almost every single football game this year. It's good seeing that they can get that far, and every year too, actually, that I've been there, we've gotten that far. So I think it's cool that we actually have students in our school that they do.
What was your favorite student section theme throughout the football season? Because I know there's a theme every week.
Definitely the beach theme.
If you could make a new theme and have it be like the next game, like, hey, next girls game, hey, this is gonna be the student section theme for you guys. What theme do you think you would want to see at the next girls game?
I don't know. Maybe like a pink theme.
Okay, we're calling out the Hoban student section right now.
Exactly.
Tomorrow, Medina, pink theme. Let's go. No, in all seriousness, here in regionals, everyone knows that the stage gets better, the teams get better. How have you handled the nerves that come along with going on to the bigger stage and playing some unfamiliar opponents?
I really just take it day by day. I try not to be nervous because when I am nervous, I don't think that I play as well. But I just have been taking it day by day, not trying to stress about it too much.
All right, let's take some stress away and ask you some questions off the court before we let you go. Some rapid fire questions. I'm going to start with, what would be your dream car? If you had all the money in the world, you could afford any car you want, what car would you want to get?
Probably like a Porsche maybe, or a Lamborghini.
Okay, what color would you want it? What color do you think looks best on a car?
Okay, I would want it pink, but I don't think cars are like nice colors. So maybe like a midnight blue.
What is something that you do spend a little bit too much money on, like your impulse buys?
Food.
What kind of food do you spend the most on?
Chick-fil-A, Chipotle, Taco Bell. I know people don't like Taco Bell, but I love Taco Bell.
It's open late, right? So hey, after the game, let's hit up Taco Bell. What's your go-to order at Taco Bell?
I usually get a chalupa and like a soft taco.
Is that your go-to like post-game meal after a big win? Hey, let's go to Taco Bell.
It depends.
What about like the team hangout? Where do you guys hang out as a team?
Well, that also depends. Like, we'll have like get-togethers at people's houses. For instance, like our senior Emma, she usually throws like parties at her house, like little get-togethers. And like you said, we did the blankets. We did that at the school, and just like stuff like that.
All right, so you've been to all the houses. What teammate has the best house to hang out at?
Probably Emma. It's Emma.
What teammate has the most swag on the team, most style?
I would say me.
Oh, there you. I like the confidence. There you go. Who's the teammate that like thinks they have the style, thinks they have the swag, but it's like, nah.
Maybe Zig.
When you think of a teammate that would be most likely to survive an apocalypse, who do you think it would be?
Kathleen.
Who's the teammate that would be most likely to win and at the Price is Right?
Zig.
If you guys were going to karaoke night, who would be the first teammate to jump on the stage?
Maya.
What would be their go-to karaoke song? What do they love to sing?
I don't know actually.
What about yours? What about yours? If you had to pick a karaoke song, what would you have to use?
It would have to be something simple like Let It Go.
What's your personal playlist look like before a game? What kind of music gets you hyped up?
Definitely stuff by like Lil Baby, Lil Durk, that type of like rap.
In your playlist, do you have any guilty pleasure songs that probably aren't the coolest one to listen to, but you don't care anyway, you rock to it?
I mean, it's like not really. I mean, I listen to really anything. So
all right, before we let you go, I want to give you the chance to shout out your support system, all the people that have been there for you throughout the years and will continue to be there for you throughout your career.
I just want to say thank you to my coaches, the seniors, well, really the whole team, my parents, and the rest of my family, and just the Hoban community.
All right. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, Mackenzie. We wish you the best of luck in that regional game tomorrow night. We hope you win, and we hope that we can talk to you again real soon.
Yeah, I hope so too. Thank you.
That was our way of putting a little bow on the Hoban girls basketball season by talking to Mackenzie Edinburgh, one of the great players that is going to be returning next year to the Knights. I hope you enjoyed that interview. We're going to go right into our next one, which is a softball season preview, our first one of the year, with Mariah Ciccolelli from Jackson Milton. Anthony Hartwig here. It is less than a month away from softball season, and we are joined by our first softball coach here on YSN, Jackson Milton's Coach's Corner, with Mariah Ciccolelli. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to come back with us this year.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I love being with you guys.
And before we start talking about this year, obviously, we didn't get a chance to have our exit interview last year and talk about some of the things that you saw from last season. So as you get ready for this year, I'm sure there was a lot of reflection on what last year, what lessons last year taught, things like that. So reflect on last year, what you think this team was able to accomplish, and what you think the players that are coming back can take away from last season.
Yeah, I think we set the bar last year really high for ourselves in the beginning of the season. I think the girls had a lot of goals that they wanted to achieve. And our upperclassmen were amazing last year. So our three seniors really set the tone. They just kind of, and I mean, you know how it was. We had the best time last year. Obviously with weather, it wasn't the greatest, but I think that, the adversities that they faced kind of made them stronger as a team, made them come together, the camaraderie come together. So they definitely learned a lot. They grew offensively. Defense was obviously something that we were really proud of even the year before. So I think just kind of facing the adversities of the cancellations and kind of the rough season that we had with playing games, just overcoming that as a team and as a whole. We beat some teams that we haven't beat in a very long time, couple sweeps, which was really nice. And I just think that it really built the confidence of the girls. So from taking all of that and just kind of carrying it over to this season, that's kind of where we're at right now.
Now, you had a good mix last year of some good senior leadership and also some young players that kind of stepped into roles and shine brightly. That being said, obviously you have some holes to replace with seniors that left, but you also have some young talent coming up. So who do you think is going to step up and be really good leaders of this team this year?
Yeah, definitely. We have all 4 juniors from last year coming back as seniors. So Mia Greco, Paige Grope, Emily Foltz, and Camelia Blackman, and all 4 of them were varsity starters last year for us. So, and they were the ones that really carried us through the winter workouts last year because our seniors were playing basketball. So they kind of stepped into that role last year and have really taken it on this year. They just have the best attitudes. They really push the underclassmen. I don't have to say a thing when it comes to practice or anything. Like, those expectations are already known, and I know the seniors can handle it. So all 4 of them are coming back. We kind of moved some girls around. I guess really just Mia this year. Mia was moving from second to shortstop. Losing Chelsea last year is a big one for us offensively. And then she's been, in our infield, second base and shortstop for 4 years. So Mia will step over to shortstop. We still have Paige in center field, Camelia in right, and Emily behind the plate. So they're kind of all over the place to be our little generals out there. And then we have a couple juniors stepping up, kind of fitting. I mean, they really can play a different position. So Alina Len will be stepping up for first base for us. We have Maggie Simpkins and Jillian Schmidt that will be in the outfield. Michaela Thornhill will be pitching for us. Grace Johns is a sophomore this year. She'll be back at third base. She'll get some time behind the plate as well. She's a great catcher too. So like I said, these girls can play multiple positions, and it's really nice to see, because if we need to have some movement, they can do that. Michaela is also going to take some time at second when she's not pitching, because we have Brenna Macbeth too, who's a freshman. We just had a scrimmage on Saturday. She did amazing. So it'll be nice to kind of see these different girls step up, and, if we need to make some changes or something's not working, I know that we have girls that are there to fill in. Cora Petrie is another one. She's going to be taking over second base. She's kind of still learning the ropes. She's used to shortstop. So, but she's a sponge. So it'll be really fun to kind of see how they do and they progress throughout the beginning of the season.
You sprinkled in some new names there for you.
I did. You like that?
I like that. You took the next question. You just ran.
I know. I got to give them all credit, because they've been working so hard, and they ask questions. They're coachable, and it's exciting, to get new girls out there. And some of them, it's their first varsity experience, so it'll be good.
For all the Jackson Milton fans that are watching out there, itching for softball, who's like the one new name that probably either wasn't on the team last year, it could be a freshman, or someone that is stepping into a big varsity role or a bigger role that you think fans need to watch out for?
Oh, Brenna Macbeth, 100%. She is tall. She's got long legs, and she throws heat. And she is just she's really just showed up. She was coming to off-season workouts. We didn't have a basketball team this year, so it's unfortunate and it's sad. Hopefully next year we kind of get that back. But it was nice for me to have everybody there all the time, so that was really cool. But to have them all together and to kind of watch those younger girls step in the positions. And I've known Brenna since she was in 7th grade when I coached middle school volleyball. And she's just she has this fight in her, but she has just this very blank face. She doesn't show emotions. But she faced 6 batters on Saturday and struck out 5 of them. So it'll be such a great, and she's left-handed. So it'll be good. Adjustment with a different kind of pitcher than Michaela. Michaela has a lot of movement, a lot of different pitches, and Brenna just hits her spots and she throws well. So she's definitely going to be one to watch out for. So I'm excited for her.
You're teeing up these perfect segues like a pro, because my next question was going
to be about this isn't my first rodeo, Anthony.
I know. Not having a basketball team this year, and you guys are kind of the return of girls sports at Jackson Milton. what kind of responsibility does that take? I mean, there are a lot of Jackson Milton fans that love the volleyball team, love the basketball team, and obviously love the softball team. What kind of responsibility are you kind of putting on this team's shoulders, is saying like, hey, our fans haven't had a girls sport in a while. We have to kind of come back and show them what we're about.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like, it's sad because for me, playing sports in high school and just kind of having that, it's special to, especially for girls sports. Like, it's really important to have that. So I know that we have a lot of girls that play volleyball. And a lot of those girls that play volleyball do play softball. So I was even trying to work in some of the girls to just, why don't you play basketball this year? So just kind of making sure that, it builds character. I know it's hard to play 3 sports all the way around. I think that's something too. Especially being in a district like Jackson Milton, we are smaller. So a lot of those same girls are playing all 3 sports. So, just kind of making it a point how I let them know how important it is to have this privilege of being able to play any sport, regardless of what it is. So, making them realize that, and it builds character. It makes them a little stronger, more competitive, and it's good for us too.
Like you said, as unfortunate as it was, it really did help the softball team. You had the whole roster on your winter workouts and everything that you wanted to do in the preseason. How much has that helped this program build itself, and how much do you think it's going to pay dividends during the season, having your team together and not having to wait for a long basketball run to be over?
Yeah, it is nice because the girls get to know each other. I think we have 6 freshmen this year. So, as all freshmen are, they're very timid when they come in. And then I have my 4 seniors who are absolutely insane. So the difference in personalities and just confidence and knowing what to expect, I kind of force them to, partner up with the younger girls, show them the drills that we do, because I'll just tell them what to do and they know exactly what to do it. So it's nice to kind of have that, because when you get, a lot of girls that play basketball, you don't get them until beginning of March, and we're getting right into, scrimmages. So if you're able to build camaraderie, get to know each other, learn everybody's personalities, the way everybody kind of works. Just seeing the girls together is really special. So that was something really cool. We had about, I'd say like a solid between 10 to 14 girls when we were going 3 days a week. So working out and hitting, and it's been really cool to see.
Let's talk about your schedule that you're going to have in front of you this year, and start with the league, because obviously every goal starts with winning the MVAC. Obviously, we know how good it is in softball. We know that McDonald's always good. You're going to have a middle range program that knows how to win and has won before, has pretty good athletes in that program as well. Wish Reserve, et cetera, et cetera. What do you see out of the league this year, and what do you think are going to be some of the big challenges navigating the MVAC?
I think it's interesting. That's what we were talking, Michaela, actually, we were talking last week at practice just about our conference and kind of teams we'll be seeing. And it's always, our conference has always been tough. A lot of good teams, a lot of great coaches. And I think like you said, a lot of those teams that we've kind of battled with, McDonald is always a tough one for us. They just have great pitching, great mechanics. And it's just, those types of things that we see. But I think for us, it's more of focusing on what we can do offensively, and to continue that from last year. I told you guys last year that we've just grown so much offensively and at the plate. So continuing that this year, really clean up defense things here and there, and figuring out our game plan for each team, because you're going to see different pitchers and you're going to see different types of teams. I know a lot of teams lost some seniors last year, so kind of seeing where they match up with us. But I think our goal this year is to really just focus on what we can do against these teams. And if we can stay consistent with that, I think we'll be just fine.
Who are some of the teams that pop up out of conference on your schedule that you're excited to challenge yourselves with, and you think that will really sharpen your tools for conference play and for tournament time?
McDonald, always. They are always a tough one. So it'll be good to see them. Western Reserve, of course, it's a rival. We actually get to play them. Shout out to Western Reserve. I think it was them that got this. We're going to get to play at YSU again this year. So we did that last year because we couldn't get a field, and we were able to do it and play a night game. And that was really, really, really cool. A great opportunity for the girls. So we get to do that this year again. So that'll be exciting. Springfield has always been another one. Last year, I can't remember if we split with them or we only got one in with them, but it was that pitcher's duel between Michaela and their pitcher. And I think we had like 9 total hits between both teams. So that'll be a good team to see. Mineral Ridge is always, they always come out to play. So I'm just excited to see how they do and see, the girls and how they can step up in those game time situations.
Springfield team's going to bring a couple of players that are coming off of a state-run in basketball.
So they're feeling good.
Yep, they officially punched their ticket to Dayton, so you know some of those athletes will be coming back and setting that standard. What about outside the MVAC, outside of that conference? Who are some other teams that pop up on your schedule that you're excited to play?
I'm trying to think of kind of where we're at now because we're playing a couple of teams we haven't played. We actually – I think last year only played a couple that were non-league games because we had to try to fit everything at the end of the season. But I know East Palestine's on there. East Canton is on there. Lordstown will be good to see. We play Newton Falls at the end of the season, and they were really tough last year. We came and played them last year after like 12 days off, and it was a rough one for us. But a lot of these good teams that we only see once a year and sometimes, once every couple years. So if we can win those non-league games, it's really nice. Kind of gives us a boost to step up in conference play.
Obviously, last year you dealt with a lot of rain stuff and a lot of scheduling that you just couldn't get games in, right? That was one of the things that was you were not alone in that. So, right. How excited are you to kind of start over and hope for good weather this year?
We're hoping. We were on the field twice already this year. So to be on the field twice is great. We have the most amazing field guy, Gary Deasy. I'll give him a shout out. He texts me almost every day, even on Sundays. He's there on the weekends checking the field. He's been like pushing water off the field. Last year, he made a couple games playable for us because he was there working on the field. And we're just hoping that we can get less rain this year. And you know what? If not, I just feel it was like last year. It's like there's nothing we can do. It's out of our control. So we'll hope for the best. And then when that comes, we'll be prepared for it. But like I said, 2 days on the field so far was great. And we have places outside that we could go on the blacktop and stuff. So we're really trying to get outside as much as we can.
We are less than a month until season, which means it starts to get into the point where you starting to get ready for opening day. You're starting to, to figure out your team's weaknesses and your team's strengths in these scrimmages. What are some team goals that you have in the next couple of weeks before opening day that you want to achieve so you know that you're ready for the start date?
We have a couple girls that are kind of stepping in positions where maybe they haven't played in a while or haven't played at all or didn't feel like maybe they got a lot of playing time there to be confident enough for this year. So really for our whole defense to kind of feel cohesive and really feel comfortable and just kind of that muscle memory of knowing where to go in certain situations. And I think we saw that on Saturday. So it was really nice to play at the Watts, just to be indoors and see kind of where everybody's at and how they're doing. So that's something we're going to clean up the next couple of weeks before the first week of games. But also, I always say staying consistent with offense at the plate, just being confident. Our girls hit so well on Saturday. So if we could just continue that and, just kind of learning the ropes. Like I said, we have a couple young girls that are going to be stepping up and they haven't had a lot of varsity experience. So I want them to be confident and know that, they have their teammates to back them up and to support them. So just doing that, staying confident and consistent. Those will be our 2 words this year.
We're talking about getting ready for opening day. Let the fans know when your first game is and when they can first come check out the Lady Jays.
Our first game is Monday, March 27th. So 3 weeks from now. And it is at home. Again, we open with Springfield. So it'll be a good one.
Right off the bat.
Yeah, right. Step up.
Here comes Springfield. Before we let you go, as always, every year we wanted you to give your staff a shout out and some of the people that make this program great behind you. I know you're the head coach. You get the interviews, you get the limelight, but you can't do it without a great staff. So who are some people that are helping you build this program and helping you along the way?
Definitely. I love my assistants. I always say I would be absolutely nothing without them, but I have Amelia Menenti coming back for me for the 3rd year with me. So she'll be stepping up into my, she was JV the last 2 years. So now she'll be my varsity assistant. And then I have Casey Reininger with me. She actually coached last year at LeBray, and she got a teaching job here at Jackson Milton. So I snagged her up. So she'll be with us too. So us three, we have the same coaching philosophy, believe in a lot of the same things. Our expectations are exactly the same. So it's very, very easy to run a practice and to make things, make the girls understand where we're coming from. And I just think that their expertise and the things that they know are really helpful. So, and then every year I always give a shout out to my dad, because my dad is like my go-to for everything. So I call him after. He literally did not miss a game last year. So he's retired. He coaches football here at Jackson Milton. He knows the girls know him. And it's really special to kind of see him. He doesn't come to practice or anything. He's just like that fan that just shows up, and he loves the game. So talking to him about everything and seeing the support that he gives the girls is really, really special. So those are my backbones, and I'm the luckiest to have them.
Yeah, the unofficial assistant.
The dad shout out. My mom, shout out to mom too. I feel like she always gets a little bit jealous.
Yeah, she's your cheerleader. Dad's your coach.
She's the
right?
Facebook cheerleader. She's the one that's always on Facebook sharing everything.
All right, Coach. Thank you so much for taking time to join us today. We can't wait for softball season, and we know we'll have you on again as the season goes along.
Absolutely. Thanks, Anthony. It was great talking to you.
Mariah Ciccolelli from Jackson Milton, and that is our first softball preview of the season. We'll have plenty more in the next 3 weeks, softball and baseball, as we preview the sports season, spring season, I should say, before it starts in less than 3 weeks. March 25th is opening day. For a lot of teams, opening day for Jackson Milton, like Coach Ciccolelli said, is going to be March 27th against Springfield. That'll do it for today's episode of Running Point. We'll be back tomorrow from 1 to 2. Thank you so much for tuning in today to Running Point.